In hindsight, I realize now that I'm a carb and sugar addict. So there's no way for me to moderate those foods. So I did that. The first week I lost 2 pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a croissant and I was able to moderate it. I was very, I think, driven by like the excitement of it. Like, I can do this. Okay. Well, then 4 months later, I'm up 40 pounds.
If you've been watching, you know that I take my ingredients very seriously, but there are 3 companies that I have found that I absolutely love. Check the description for discount codes. Hello, welcome to my show. My name is Adrienne. This is a series where I interview different people who've inspired me to be healthier. Today, I have Courtney Luna. I feel like no introduction is even needed because we all know who Courtney is, but she is a stay-at-home mom, a carnivore, a cook, now an author, so many things. Thank you so much for coming on, Courtney.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Okay, so for the 5 people who don't know who you are, could you give just a brief summary of how you ended up carnivore?
Oh, goodness. Okay. How far do you want me to rewind? Do you want just the short, like the few years before, or do you want 25 years?
Give me 25 years
Okay,
in
we'll
5
make it
minutes.
short.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, we'll make it short. Yeah, 25 years of yo-yo dieting. Tried it all. Let's see. Slim fast diet, beach diet. I already said slim fast. Special K. Got a little like Weight Watchers. Got a little closer to health with paleo and keto. On and off keto, low carb for about like 7 or 8 years. Never once heard of carnivore, which was so weird. Like, why was I so out of the loop? So, anyways, stopped doing what was working for me. I had done keto again after my second baby. I have gained and lost the 50 pounds like so many times. So, I had lost the 50 pounds from my second baby, doing low carb. I got caught up in the anti diet culture BS that's out there. And I'm like, yeah, no such thing as bad foods, everything in moderation. Well, in hindsight, I realize now that I'm a carb and sugar addict. So there's no way for me to moderate those foods. So I did that. The first week I lost 2 pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a croissant and I was able to moderate it. Like, just I was very, I think, driven by like the excitement of it. Like, I can do this. Okay. Well, then 4 months later, I'm up 40 pounds. Like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck? And I was at like my highest weight again, feeling awful, waking up feeling exhausted after I had a good night's sleep. Just my skin was all broken out and gnarly. I mean, I've had bad skin my whole life, but it was disgusting. I was on meds for anxiety and depression. Like, I was not thriving. And my husband at the time, well, not my husband at that time, my husband during this time was sending me Dr. Paul Saladino's TikToks and for like about a month, and we never talked about it. And then one day I'm like, why are you sending me these? Like, should we not be eating vegetables? He's like, I don't know. I got to do some research. So, he goes on YouTube University like we all do. And he's like, let's give this a shot. So I started carnivore. Actually, I started animal based. My little, sugar addicted brain was like, oh, I'm gonna do the fruit. I need the fruit. Realized after about 5 weeks that wasn't working for me. And the rest is history. I'm a little over 2 years carnivore now, and it's the best thing ever. I wish I knew about it sooner. That's the only bummer.
I love that you pretty much have documented the whole thing, right?
Yeah, because I was already showing up online beforehand. So I was sharing low carb keto recipes, sharing my journey with that weight loss side of things. And then I'm like, oh, now I'm going to eat all the things. So I shared that journey. No one had anything to say as I gained 40 pounds in 4 months on camera, essentially. So yeah, it was like, okay, here's the next thing I'm going to try. So yeah, it was all documented, not thinking much of it, just because I was already sharing my stuff. So yeah.
It's so interesting you talk about the gaining the weight, adding the carbs because my thyroid took a dive a couple months ago and I was like, well, the hell with it. I'm going to add dairy back. And I swear I've gained feels like 100,000 pounds. Do you have that same problem with dairy? Like, do you have to really watch it or your weight just goes, psh?
I lost all my weight having dairy, and it wasn't like a lot. I would have like, especially in the beginning, I was like all about having like a little cup of kefir and then some raw cheese. And raw kefir as well. So that was like all I had in the beginning for a while and lost 45 pounds. So, and even now I'm having dairy and losing. So for me, I think it's just making sure it doesn't get out of hand. But for me, it hasn't stalled any weight loss that I've noticed. I know it can cause like some inflammation and maybe some water weight, but yeah, I haven't had issues with it unless I'm, chugging heavy cream and having way too many calories than my body needs.
That is for sure the problem. Like the cream and then the cheese. And I remember a few times earlier, I would add just a little bit, but I remember watching a Laura Spath video where she said use it as a condiment. And so I did at that time. And I never added the heavy cream. I think the heavy cream, I have a heavy cream problem. But I've also come to the conclusion, I don't know about you, when I came into this, I was so restricted and then I felt good. Like I'm just gonna eat meat. This feels great. No sweets, no dairy. This is great. But the minute that I let the other stuff in, I start having issues. But I've also gone to the restriction so far as Lion Diet, and I still was having issues. So I'm to the point where restriction isn't the whole picture for me. Like I really have to work on tools. So do you have any recommendations on how to moderate dairy?
Well, I think it just depends on like what it is. Like, and for me, like I have like different seasons with it. Like right now, like I used heavy cream in my coffee yesterday and it was fine. And that was the end of it. Whereas some days I like in the past was like wanting to like chug it. And for me, like that wasn't so much the actual food. It wasn't the cream. It was like what was going on inside of me mentally and why I'm turning to food or the heavy cream to like numb some of my issues. So, yeah, I think to try and moderate it. I mean, if you're struggling moderating it, then maybe you just need to remove it. Like, I love how Dr. Lisa says, like pay attention to foods if you're having sober behavior around them or not. But for me, that can change. Like, for a while there, I was like having issues with my carnivore bars. Like, I would plow through a whole box. But this last week, I didn't even send them to my mom's house. I have them in my cupboard and I've been able to like either have a piece here and there and I've been fine. So, just because you're having a struggle with cheese right now doesn't mean you'll always have that. So just kind of like pay attention to like where your weaknesses are and maybe abstain from that item in the meantime till you can get to the root of your issues. But yeah, I love the treating it as a condiment or not having it daily and just maybe like saving it for the weekend, like having it be, I don't know if getting into the mindset of it being a treat, but maybe not have it every day if you seem to have an issue with it.
I'm going to be honest about something that people probably don't want to hear. And that is when I went Lion Diet and then my body didn't like it and I ended up gaining 13 pounds in 4 days, I kind of lost a little bit of that hope. When you come into carnivore, you're like, wow, this is going to work. This is absolutely going to work. I've seen a million people it works for. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's work. So I'm having a little bit of trust with my body right now. So I guess that is what I need to work on is why is that trust broken and how do I fix that? Because our bodies know more than we do, for sure. Hey, I want to talk. One of the parallels we have is 11 years ago, I had my kids, my big kids, and I realized I can't have alcohol in my life. And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't like beating people or picking fights or no, I was the one that was like passing out and just it was just not cute. How did you come to the conclusion that you needed to quit alcohol?
Yeah, I wasn't even wanting to quit. So this book, This Naked Mind, I listened to it on audiobook as a way to moderate my drinking. And at the time, yeah, I wasn't like, oh, I need to stop. And even like right before stopping, there wasn't like I was having rock bottom moments. It was actually I was doing kind of okay with it and moderating it, but I was just like not obsessively thinking about it, but when I had one, it was hard to stop.
Mhm.
So I listened to it and things just like clicked. And I don't even remember what it was that clicked, but just stuff about it. Like, I guess one thing that sticks out is you're never going to feel as good as that first 15 minutes. So you have your first drink and you're always trying to chase that feeling and you're never going to get it. So for me, just hearing some of these little things, I'm like, I'm going to try stopping. And I just took it a day at a time. I mean, I still am taking a day at a time because to say I'm never going to drink again sounds scary. And I feel like in the beginning, I had to mourn a loss too. Like this was something that has been a part of my life since, sorry, parents, like 14, 15. Not that I was an alcoholic in high school, but we drank, you know? And as I got older and of age, I never had a good relationship with alcohol. I can never just have one. It was like once I started drinking, I drank until I went to bed slash passed out. And
Mhm.
I like to think for the majority of it, I was a fun drunk. I think my husband would probably say differently, but I was like a disaster. Like I would probably always black out. And it didn't take much for me to black out either. Even when I got my DUI, that wasn't like a sign like, oh, you should probably stop. So I didn't even get sober till, gosh, a few years after my DUI, I think, quite a few years. Um, yeah, so I was even telling Jeff last week, I'm like, just so you know, when I'm 90, like I might want to start drinking again. Like, who cares at that point? I don't know if I will, but my life and my family's life is so much better with me not drinking. Like I put Jeff through a lot, bless him.
Yeah, I was on a cruise and, it's all this liquor, there's these fancy drinks everywhere, but what I was thinking to myself is, I'm so grateful I'm not hungover right now. I'm so grateful that I'm spending time with my kids instead of wanting to be at the bar or wanting to run up and get drinks and then worry about their safety because I'm basically blacked out. Yeah, I got a DUI between the filming of the show and the finale. Like, what a horror. And that wasn't a red flag for me. It was like, everybody gets them. It's a badge of honor. You can't graduate college without one. That's great thinking.
Uh,
So, how do you do it all? You're a stay-at-home mom, so you're taking care of two kids. And did you say they're 4 and 6? Did I make that up?
Before in a couple weeks, and Archer just turned 6.
Wow. And you're homeschooling. So you've got a kindergartner, first grader?
Yes, he will be in. We just finished kindergarten, so he'll be in first grade in the fall.
Do you do some kind of co-op thing or do you do curriculum?
Yeah, we do have a co-op. To me, it's more of just like for the social aspect and having that thing, but I just think of it as an added bonus, and we do our own curriculum at home. So while they are teaching stuff that would count, like I don't want to rely on that. Like we just do all that stuff on our own
Do you have
because it's a
any
lot.
curriculum suggestions for people who are considering being homeschool moms?
Yeah, so
Or dads? Sorry, moms or
yeah,
dads.
we use what is it? The Good and the Beautiful, and it was suggested to me as like an easy thing. Like you open it up and it tells you what you are doing that day, which I need because this was never my life's mission to homeschool my children. But after all the shenanigans in this world that are going on, it's like they 100% need to be home with us. So here we are. So I love this curriculum. It is like I homeschool through a charter, so we check in with this teacher like once a month to make sure we're on track. She does all the paperwork, so she's essentially like handling all like the legal side of things. So we do get funds from that, but they won't cover this curriculum because it's technically faith based. But to be honest, like we're not very religious and there's not much like religious stuff in there. So if you're not religious, don't be afraid of getting this. I absolutely love it. It's so easy for me. It's just all laid out there. So, because I need all the help I can get because I don't know what I'm doing.
That was a question I had. Are you a Christian or
I was raised Christian. Like my dad is very religious, and we went to church all the time, but just kind of drifted away from that. And honestly, I don't know what I am lately. Like, okay, here's the thing with carnivore. It has you questioning everything. And I will say I went through a period where I didn't really I've never talked about this online because I don't know if my dad watches my stuff and I don't want him to feel sad. But I wasn't religious and I don't even know if I believed any of that stuff. The more I'm in carnivore, the more I'm questioning things and I'm like, maybe that is right. So I'm kind of lately in this place of maybe, I don't know, digging a little deeper to see where I am religious wise. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of figuring that out right now. And I'm having a little bit more of an open mind than I used to.
I love that. I know. I found myself craving more primal things. Like I was telling someone, I would totally sit in the front yard in the sun without probably naked, chewing on bones because it would probably be healthy. That's a little extreme, but maybe some furs to cover some things. Okay. So will you ever touch sardines again?
I was actually just talking to Serena about this yesterday. Yeah, yeah. I haven't touched any since I did that challenge, but I'm just remembering like how good I felt on them. And I don't know if I would necessarily do like more challenges with them because I do like to eat other things, but they're so nutritious and I don't mind them. You know, I found the brand that I like. So, yeah, I was thinking about even having some today. We'll see. But yeah, I think they're so good and they're so good for you. And don't listen to the naysayers. Gosh, I feel like it's just getting crapped on lately. It's driving me nuts actually. Everyone's opinions about this.
How has Dr. Boz gotten through all these years? Because this has been going on for a while. But I think one thing I didn't know, and I watched all the videos, the thing I didn't know is that you should add 2 tablespoons of some kind of fat to each can. And so here I am eating 10 cans. That's a lot of protein. Kind of missing out on the fat. I'd add like a half a tablespoon of fat. I didn't, so I'm interested in trying it the actual way you're supposed to do it and seeing if my numbers change because that was another thing. My ketones never really went up. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
and I mean, the fish is fatty on its own though, right?
a little bit, a little if you look at the macros, it's like it's pretty low, the fish itself, because they're only this big.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have
So
to check. Yeah, I wasn't adding in a lot of fat either. And I know Serena right now is doing another 7 days, intentionally adding the fat to be like regular carnivore macros. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for her.
well, any day you do another sardine challenge, I'm in with you.
Okay.
Solidarity. For some reason, when we do it and we say we're going to do it together, I do it. But if I tell myself, I'll do it Monday, then I'm like, ooh, look at that heavy cream over there. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Or like I'm on
I
right now, I'm
really
on a
need to work on mindset right now.
well, and that's a great thing about accountability is it really does help, you know, for whatever challenge you're doing or staying on track. But yeah, right now I am like so hooked on very thinly sliced New York strip that I'm getting at Costco and pan frying it till
Mm,
it's crispy. I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to get up just for sardines, but I definitely should be including sardines like just in my day in general.
mm-hmm. I love that. Have you ever had your thyroid checked?
I don't know, but I did just get blood work done last week. So I'm sure I did at some point. Like I don't actually know. When I was 6 months carnivore, I got labs done from my regular doctor, and I'm assuming they checked it. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't recall. Like he never said I had an issue with anything. But I just got labs, blood drawn last week, and I'm working with Danny Conway. She's going to go over everything. So she's the one that did like what stuff I needed to be checked. So many vials of blood. I'm like, Danny, what is going on? But she's very thorough on what she's checking for. And I'm nervous. I'm nervous that they're going to find something wrong.
Well, there's 2 things. Number 1, if you're not feeling any reason for that blood work, then that's fine. But if you're like stuck or, maybe there's something there you could heal. I think so many people who are overweight, it's because they have something to heal, like their metabolism, and they don't even realize it. And they keep blaming themselves and blaming themselves. And really, they're going against their body that needs a little love in some area. So I'm excited to see what that says. Did she check your cholesterol too?
Yes, I know that was on there. I mean, it's like there was a whole list. Like she does a lot and way more than like what a regular doctor would be checking for, you know, because she's
Mm-hmm.
going into like from carnivore mindset and what little markers she wants to see. So I feel like I should be finding something out soon. Maybe I should bug her and text her.
So you also will share that you do work out. Do you use any kind of app?
I was using Trainer Eyes, so I was working with coaches
I
So
loved
I've
that.
dabbled in that. Yeah. Right now, I'm training for a race. Like, what am I doing? And my lifting has kind of fallen off a little bit, but maybe only because it's like the first week of running, I was getting that all dialed in. So I need to come back to that. That being said, I don't even know if I have access to the Trainerize app anymore since I'm not with my coaches. But if not, I just go and lift and do my own thing. Like I feel like I know enough of what I'm doing. I guess I should be like tracking it. But honestly, tracking like my weights, it drives me nuts. Like I just want to go in there and throw some weight around and be done with it.
I was working with someone in Trainerizer, and it was actually the first time I'd ever seen my body composition changing. My weight actually went up 2 pounds, but my body composition started changing. The app I found that is a good substitute is called Workout, and you do have to pay for it, but it's much cheaper than Trainerizer.
Okay.
Um, and
Okay, cool.
but I have the same thing. It's like I'm either focusing on walking or I'm focusing on weightlifting. I have a very hard time doing them both. But I don't know if you realize, but you probably do, the effect that you have, because I actually quit running about a year ago and started walking, but now I'm to the point I could walk 15 miles and not really feel anything. So then it's like, well, okay, I guess I got to add weight, but I'm kind of considering, because of you, doing a little bit of intervaling
Yeah, or
because I think
even like
it feels really good.
some sprint work or just jogging.
Probably more jogging so I don't break anything.
Yeah.
But I know we're supposed to get the heart rate up. So maybe it would turn into sprinting, like a 30-second sprint and then a 3-minute walk. And then I don't know. I wish there was an app for that. There's got to be an app for that.
Yeah, I actually downloaded an interval app because right now, like the way my running program is, it's like some days I'm on a minute, off a minute, and that way it's just my phone is in my pocket. But it's annoying because it's like you can't close the screen. Like if I shut it, it was pausing it. So you have to leave it open, but then it beeps in your ear when it's time to run, and that's been helpful. But yeah, I mean, Dr. Sean O'Mara like preaches the sprints. Maybe we can let's bring on a new trend. Done with the sardines, let's all start sprinting.
I like it. Get that heart rate up. Okay, I got a funny topic. Do you pantry prep at all, with this being an election year?
Oh, that maybe I should. You know what? Like we are not prepared people, especially like living in California with earthquakes. Like we should have earthquake supply kit and not that much, but maybe I should and stock up on some more. I mean, I have some pantry items, but yeah, maybe I should stock up more on some shelf stable items.
It is torture the citizens year. So
Yes.
I've asked a lot of my friends this, and I'm wondering, how do you live in California? I mean, even Jillian Michaels has left. How do you do
I
that? Or
saw
is it
that.
just not the same as what we see on TV?
We live in a nice little bubble in Southern California. So I'm not in San Francisco where there is literal poop all over the sidewalks. Like I am in a nice bubble. It feels safe. It's beautiful. Like what keeps me here is the access to the beach and the weather, and it's not very buggy. Like it checks all the boxes. The only thing it doesn't check is, the lunatic politics side of things. But I don't know. We might move next year. We'll see.
Let us know. I feel like we'll start like a carnivore commune, but it
Right.
needs to be I spent some time in California and I loved it. For some reason, I never got sunburnt. That doesn't make any sense to me. It was sunny every day. The water was right there. The weather was great, like every day. I loved it.
Where were
And you
you?
guys have the best produce. The Biggest Loser was filmed in Semi Valley. Am I saying it wrong? Simi Valley?
Semi Simi Valley? Simi? I think it's Simi. Up north
Simi
end, right?
Valley is where my season was filmed, on this beautiful
Okay.
ranch. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in the Hummingbird Ranch? If you're a reality TV person, they film like tons of shows there, like lots of
Okay.
dating shows, and they've had weddings there. Like, I think part of the cast from that show that you're watching right now, I think they got married there.
Oh,
And they,
okay.
they may have filmed their wedding there. Anyway, it's beautiful. And then lastly, I want to ask you about your cookbook. How did you decide to go with a publisher versus not? And how's that been going? Do you have a book tour scheduled?
No book tour because I feel like those are for people who are like massively huge followings, like millions, like who would who would show up? So, yeah,
Lots of
it's
carnivores.
I mean, I feel like everyone's so spread out that like
Mhm.
going to one specific city, like what, there might be 5 carnivores there. So no, we don't have book tour planned. But yeah, working with a publisher has been awesome because they are holding your hand through the process. They are giving you deadlines. If I did this on my own, I would probably still be working on it because I know me, like I wouldn't have made as much time to get it done. Whereas this, it's like, I have to. I signed a contract. So it's been very helpful having their guidance on this is how you write a recipe and having editors like essentially rewrite everything I've written to make more sense. So like they have been so thorough. Just the description, like you can't add butter to a pan if it's the first step you're doing because you're not adding it to anything. So you need to put the butter or place the butter. So like different things like you would have never even thought about. So that's been super helpful. And the only downside, and then they're going to help me like market it and get it out there. The only downside of working with the publisher is, of course, they're taking like a big chunk of the profits, which is fine. I'm just so stoked to like have this, passion project out there that's like the least of my concerns. So if you do go like a self-publishing route, the downside is you don't have all that help. You don't have the editors, you don't have the guidelines. Like they really did a lot of work for me. But the upside is you get to keep all that profit. But how many people are going to see it? So if you're self-publishing, I don't know, maybe even look into having someone help you market it, or I don't know. So for me, it was definitely worth it going the publisher route. But I feel like I was lucky too. I mean, they found me and approached me. I know that it's probably like very rare. And even if you write your own and you want to go shop it around to see if someone wants to pick it up, like it's probably difficult. Like I don't know the percentages, but I do feel really lucky that I got this opportunity because I don't think it's like an everyday thing where they're just handing out book deals to everybody. So,
Have you been hitting some of your goals, your sales goals, do you know? Or do we need everybody to go out right now and order your copy on Amazon because it's guaranteed best price?
go buy your copy right now. Pre-sales are very important to an author. I don't know. I don't know how many I've sold. They haven't told me and I haven't asked. I almost don't want to know. Sorry, I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit. In my head, I feel like it's going great. And when we first launched pre-sales, I got like a little Amazon bestseller little label for that day. I mean, it all changes daily, but for me, it felt like it went great. I don't want to know where we're at because I don't want that to bum me out. Like, oh, we only hit that, So I'm just going to live in my little bubble, pretending that things are going amazing because I want to have fun with this. And I don't want, hearing a number to make me feel bummed out. So that being said, yeah, go grab one. All the orders that you get for pre sale, like they really help stores to decide like if they're going to carry it in store, which I feel like I would be shocked honestly if my book ended up in store. I think it's more common to just like keep them online, but imagine if it's in a store and that's, someone could walk by and see it and have their life changed by Carnivore. So, if you want to be a part of changing other people's lives, let's get a lot of these books sold so it could be on the shelves where it could get more eyeballs to help others.
I feel like every single cook in the schools needs a copy of this. I'm not saying that schools have to be carnivore, but making more protein palatable for these kids would be amazing,
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. And this isn't, you don't have to be carnivore or even keto to use this book. You just need to want to prioritize protein and your health.
So speaking of numbers, can you give us some tips and advice? I'm trying this whole social media thing. It's so discouraging. It feels like I get 20 and I lose 20 the very same day, and it's so strange how it's the exact same number. And then you watch some people get like 90,000 in like 5 minutes. And has this cookbook helped you with that? How's that going? How's the social media situation?
It has highs and lows. I feel like right now my growth has been slow. Like it's so funny that my publishers, they found me on TikTok, but now my TikTok is dead. Like I don't know what happened or what's going on. Other carnivores on there are doing amazing and having amazing growth, and my views have gone in the toilet. So I don't even understand, all the algorithms and what's going on. Why? I mean, I know they say like if your views aren't good, like let's not blame the algorithm. Let's take a look at your content. But if my content has been the same and it was good enough then, why isn't it good enough now? So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, when you're creating videos, you have 2 seconds to grab somebody's attention. So your initial 2 seconds need to look good. It needs to be intriguing. It needs to stop that scroll. I mean, people are just sitting there scrolling. You need to make it interesting enough for them to stop and hear out what you have to say. And there's I mean, you could YouTube, how to make a catchy video, and I don't even really go into this myself and think about it, but you could, like, you're telling this whole like story. So you got to hook them, and then you got to get them to come to the middle part, and then you got to get them to watch till the end. And yeah, I mean, it could be like this whole like, science math equation, but really that first 2 seconds. And it needs to look good too. I mean, that's part of it. And have like some quicker clips, I feel like is helpful. Nobody wants to stare at the same thing for 10 seconds. Like they want to see different shots and different angles and just keep things interesting.
My favorite video recently is the one, Lube the Shoot. Your poop
Yeah.
video is so good.
That was fun. Yeah, I had a couple weeks ago, I was feeling inspired to like sit down and make some videos where it was just a quick chat to the camera, quick little edit to clean things up, and I posted it. Whereas it's a little different than what I normally post with like what I eat in a day. Like this was like, boom, I have something to say, and I'm gonna like put it out there right now at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Your what I eat in a day is way too gorgeous. Mine is like ground beef and then burger patties and then burger patties. You're just like,
That's
I had
okay.
some kefir and some homemade mayo, and like even your burger patties aren't boring.
You gotta, but people like that's probably how they're eating too, and they want to see it. You just gotta make it look like fun and interesting and show different, angles and clips of you eating it. And yeah, I need to get back at it. I've been posting a lot of old videos lately. Like the last few weeks have hardly been anything new. I've just been a little burnt out, and that's okay, but I'm feeling inspired to like create some new stuff and share a little bit more about like what I'm feeding my kids, because that's helpful slash triggering for people. So that might like shake things up a little bit.
Have you ever been censored?
Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you mean
Like
though?
like I
Like,
recently posted a video of this beautiful girl named Kendall, and we talked about her eating disorder and how it's been so healing to be on the carnivore diet, and it said it could harm children.
yeah, I've gotten things like that. All my content on TikTok that mentions fasting has been removed, and I've gotten some dings. Like a while ago, me and Serena did um, a talk where I guess we were talking about binge eating or something, and it's marked like there's something on there that says whatever it says, but I think because we mentioned that. So yeah, I get a ton of community guideline dings on TikTok, but yeah, they do censor some of my stuff, which is unfortunate. Like for a while on
Yes.
Instagram, people couldn't even tag me because of something that they didn't like that I shared. So I couldn't even like be mentioned with anything.
I mean, it's not like we're talking about like masks to save you from the chemtrails.
Yeah.
I wonder if there is such a thing, like an umbrella you could walk around with or something to protect you from the. Oh, well, Courtney, please keep doing what you're doing. You've been inspiring so many of us, and I really appreciate you taking this time to chat with me today. If anybody would like to catch up with Courtney, it's Courtney Luna on Instagram, and I think you're just Courtney Luna on YouTube, and you also have a podcast. Am I missing anything?
I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest. So Pinterest is nice to like organize things and recipes and stuff. What else? I do have a private Facebook group, a free one, that you could join. I guess that's it. Is that enough?
That's where I go to get the good recipes.
Yes.
The
Yeah, go check that out.
pre-release recipes. Like the bread is
Yeah, which
even
I
my
need to
whole family
share.
likes the bread, and they're like,
Oh,
"Are you
good.
making something weird again?" Nope, this was from Courtney Luna. Okay.
Yeah, and I need to
So,
share another recipe soon. My PR lady
ooh,
told me get a new recipe out from the book for something that's like 4th of July-ish. I'm like, well, I kind of missed the mark on that. That was like a week ago and I never did anything. So sorry about that, but we will get something
so busy.
new out soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you.